Hey sports fans, here's a tip to keep in mind the next time you make your betting picks. According to research, home field advantage is no joke, especially in those playoffs. In the NBA and the NFL postseason, the home team typically has a 64% shot at victory. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Live with you on a Thursday night right here on SportsGrid. It is Game Time Decisions. Kevin Walsh for the next 2 hours as we look to get you set for a huge game tonight in the NBA between the LA Lakers and the Golden State Warriors. The Western Conference standings incredibly tight. Everyone trying to line up what would be their perfect bracket, trying to avoid OKC, avoid Minnesota, avoid Golden State, I don't know. I think everybody kind of wants to play the Rockets. We'll see if that is the right idea. Luka and LeBron against Steph and Jimmy Butler. A huge game that we'll break into momentarily. We also do have a decently important college basketball game because we're going to show some respect to the NIT. UC Irvine and Chattanooga going head-to-head. 3.5-point line there for UC Irvine right now. That number's steady across the card, and we are involved in that one. So we will get to that in a little bit. Not involved in the crown, because I can't find it. I mean, I can tell you what the numbers are, but I can't really. We can't really get in the mix, and I don't really understand why. I don't really like that. It's an unfortunate situation. They tell me it's because the kids are getting paid. I'm sorry. That's no different than Saturday. That's all right. Major League Baseball, 2 left. You know it. We're involved in both. That is the game between the New York Yankees and the Arizona Diamondbacks. We'll also see Reds, Brewers. Yanks and D-backs, very important. The New York Yankees, red hot, torpedo bats, homer, homer, homer. Next thing you know, they're standing down the barrel of a home sweep on the other side of it, though, with Arizona coming to town and taking the first 2 of this series. We'll talk to Joe Pisapia a little bit about his early reactions from the beginning of the Major League Baseball season. We'll talk to Doc Jock around the torpedo bats and that revolution going on right now in Major League Baseball. We've got Brady Cannon stopping by 1 week away from the Masters. Could you believe? 3 weeks away. NFL draft. We've got over-unders and some insight into what the books believe is going to play out with Shedeur Sanders. We will break that all down, but let's start with the surest bet in basketball, which is LeBron versus Steph. A rivalry that defines the generation, yet has had a lot of stops in between. The Cavs-Warriors rivalry, if I'm honest with you all, I'm always honest with you. What am I saying? Spoiled by Kevin Durant sticking his nose in there. Broke things up a little bit. Then we saw LeBron head west, certainly meaning the Lakers and the Warriors would not meet in a conference, in an NBA Finals. They've not met in a conference finals. They did meet in round 2. They sure swept the result of that one under the rug, if you ask Cole K-Dubs. That's all right. But we've seen Steph and LeBron go head-to-head, and it always leads to greatness. Well, Steph Curry is entering this game coming off of one of his greatest performances in his career. 52 points, 12 made threes, chipped in 10 boards, 8 dimes, and 5 steals. Steph was otherworldly against the Memphis Grizzlies on Tuesday night. So I decided to dive in a little bit to what we get out of Steph coming off of a 50-point performance. I went back to 2021. It gives us an 8-game sample size. And Steph in those games averages 30 points per game and 5.4 made threes, scoring at least 25 in 7 of 8 games. When Steph is hot, he's hot. It usually carries over into the next one. You'll find right now a minus 136 number for Steph to score 25 plus. His pure over-under is 25.5. The made threes right now, 5 of them is minus 110. I want to bet Steph tonight. But I don't want to just bet Steph tonight because I do like the Lakers in this spot. The line would certainly, I think, qualify as a Golden State line. There's no rest disadvantage for the Lakers here. In fact, this is only the 3rd time the Lakers since the All-Star break will have multiple days off in between games. So they should be fresh as a daisy heading into this one. The Lakers have been an unbelievable home basketball team all season, and we don't have a ton of sample size of Steph plus Jimmy against healthy and ready to attack NBA teams. But I'm not going to play the Lakers side because, as I said, I think Steph could have a big game tonight. And I know Luka's going to have one. I'm sure I sound like a broken record. I do, because I told you this when Luka went out there against Houston. He took a lot of shots. He was tied for the game's leading scorer. It was a low-scoring game. He only had 20 points, 1 of 7 from 3. But that is now 3 straight games for Luka without a 30 ball. That stops tonight. In partnership with Steph Curry, they combined for over 53.5 points in the head-to-head combos market over on DK at minus 120. It is undoubtedly my best bet on not just tonight's card. That is one of my favorite bets I have seen all NBA season. Double bet on spot, 53.5, Superstar Showdown. Yes, please. Over the 53.5, they should soar through this number. At least one of those guys is going to give me 30, and I think both could, quite frankly, in this spot tonight between the Lakers and the Warriors. You take a look at the NBA standings right now. The Lakers up to the 3 seed. Denver last night, after a double overtime defeat at the hands of the Minnesota Timberwolves, rested guys at home against the Spurs, closing as about a 2-point favorite after sitting as almost a double-digit favorite for most of the day, lose that basketball game, dropping their 2nd in a row. The Lakers now could potentially end up the 3. The Lakers could end up the 2 if you poke around the rest of that Rockets schedule. Golden State up to the 5. I'll tell you right now, if the Lakers could, they would stop the fight and start the postseason. With respect to Minnesota, you now, in round number 1, will play the Timberwolves in your home building. Round number 2, go to Houston. You just beat inexperienced. If they're even there, you could end up playing the LA Clippers. And if it's round 2, is Kawhi going to be around? Tough to tell. Denver or Golden State eliminate one another in round 1 and then go on to face OKC? stop the fight style if you're the LA Lakers. We'll see how it all finishes up. We'll see how the NIT finishes up tonight. It is UC Irvine, the Anteaters against the Mocs. Let's go Anteaters. We're going to lay the 3.5 here tonight with UC Irvine. A very, very good defense in what is, I think, going to be easily the toughest task in front of Chattanooga during this NIT run. The Anteaters, I think, have had a far more difficult pass, having to go up against UAB and North Texas. Close games, close wins. They got the job done by 2 against North Texas as a slight dog. In overtime against UAB by 4 as a 3.5-point favorite. I don't think tonight will be as close. I think it's all UC Irvine. I think they win your NIT championship tonight. We're going to lay those 3.5 points. Let's get into it. Yankees, Diamondbacks. Any sizzle in this game? And also the AL MVP market, a.k.a. the Aaron Judge market. That's next right here. It's Game Time Decisions on SportsGrid.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Game Time Decisions live on a Thursday night. NBA slate. We hit the main event, no doubt about it. That's Lakers Warriors. We've got to your NIT. What about the Major League Baseball board? It's light, but there are still some opportunities out there. It's Yankees Diamondbacks. It's Brewers Reds. We start in New York. The Yanks sweep Milwaukee to start their season. Could be on the wrong end of a sweep now if they do not break through today against Arizona. I consider to play on the Yankees. I don't think you're getting a good price. Merrill Kelly is a much better pitcher than Carlos Carrasco, and this is an Arizona team who has a lot of hype coming into the year and were booked as favorites in the opening game of this series. Now, Corbin Burns against Will Warren, that compared to Carrasco against Merrill Kelly, I don't know. Am I crazy to say you're in the same ballpark? I don't think you are. I think you're paying you're not going to get swept tax. I don't want to pay that tax. I do want to play an under 9.5 in this game. I think Merrill Kelly will be good enough. I think Carlos Carrasco will be much better than he was in the opener here. While I know the wind is seemingly blowing out somewhat, I think that's taxed into this 9.5. Still a little bit muggy out there. I'm going to play under 9.5 in the game between the Yankees and the Diamondbacks. Before I get to the second game, I would like to talk about the American League MVP award. Aaron Judge is now a -110 favorite to win MVP. This is something we very briefly got into before the season began on this show. Aaron Judge not opening the season as the favorite for this award was preposterous. I do not agree with the notion that there is voter fatigue out there in the market. At minimum, I don't think we're seeing it priced into the National League MVP market because Ohtani starts the year under 2-1 to win NL MVP. And if you want to say, Ohtani's different. Sure. Ohtani's still not thrown a pitch yet, right? And I think he's got a lot more competition. Soto, Tatis, his own teammate in Mookie Betts, Ellie De La Cruz off to a rock star start. One of the biggest threats to Aaron Judge would have been Kyle Tucker. He heads to the National League. There's a lot more, I think, valuable options. Now, I'm not going to act like Aaron Judge was 18-1 because then we would have all sat there with tickets on him. But to not be the favorite when the AL MVP award has been Judge Ohtani over the last 4 years was incredible. And Judge ends up the minus money favorite before Ohtani, despite Ohtani having a much bigger head start in the market. So now that Aaron Judge is sitting at -110, the idea is bad bet. I'm not running to bet Judge at -110. It's way too early in the season for that. My question, though, my question is, who else do you want to bet? Who else do you want to bet? There has to be someone, right? We're mentioning the FanDuel numbers. DraftKings actually tweeted out that Aaron Judge is the biggest Week 1 favorite in the history of their sports book, okay, for an AL MVP award or for the MVP award. It's the biggest they've seen. So the notion will be there's got to be juice. Okay, guy number 2 is Bobby Witt, plus 450. He has moved back since open. You could sell me on Bobby, right? Gunnar Henderson is the second best odds. He hasn't played a game yet. Next number is 25-1. And it's Vladdy and Julio Rodriguez, and J-Rod is ice cold to start the year. I bet J-Rod over his season-long home runs. Honestly, I'm not sure how good J-Rod is. We all love Jose Ramirez. Is he going to get the job done for you at 30-1? You know who is also 30-1? Mike Trout. Stop this. Mike Trout. Hey now. Love me some Mike Trout. We all do, I think. Tied for the 6th best odds. And everybody's like, oh, come on, fly down the board. There's so many good options. AL MVP. Is there? It's April 3rd. Oh, do we have a 2-man race between Judge and Bobby? Shame on all of us then. Should have been Judge 3-1. 4 games later, Bobby plus 450. See you in, I don't know, August of 2029, whenever they hand this award out. All right? I mean, what else are they going to give it? They're certainly not going to give it out in a timely fashion, right? This guy Bobby would be in arbitration. Judge say, hey, we got something for you, pal. Here's an MVP award. I'm just saying. I have no problem with people saying, do not bet Judge. But I do not like people going, come on, there's so many other guys you could bet. I don't see him. I don't see him. I think Everybody on this board, it looks like right now, would be a waste. And are you getting enough on Bobby at plus 450 to challenge Judge? Because that's where you would have to go. To me, Bobby was fantastic last season. He was absolutely wonderful. He had a brilliant, brilliant spring. A little bit of a slow start right now. Judge is on a hot start. Connor Henson is the third best odds. He hasn't played a game yet. So before we say Judge is a terrible bet, all I'm saying is if you then followed up with go bet Corey Seager at 30-1, that's a terrible bet. A way worse bet. Because that bet's not winning. That bet has no chance to win. You're not going to clip some CLV on it. Seager might end up in the Hall of Fame. Couple of World Series MVPs on the resume. He ain't winning an AL MVP this year. You know it and I know it. By the way, Reds, Brewers, get in, get out special. It's a nerfy. There's a boost out there on FD if you'd like to make good use of it. It's minus 130 without over on DK for Brewers, Reds. No runs first inning. Nestor Cortez checks in today's game with a 36 ERA. Nestor Cortez will consider this a great start as long as he does not give up any runs in the first inning. Nick Lodolo should do plenty fine on the other side of this. I'll take my chances. No runs first inning. Brewers, Reds under the 9.5 in the game between the Yankees and the Diamondbacks. 3 weeks away, NFL draft. Who is going third? A Colorado Buffalo? Probably. Who? We'll talk about it next.
First time on a casino floor and feeling a little overwhelmed? Well, here's a tip. Lots of machines have a free demo mode you can try for practice. So give those slots a spin in practice mode before you start putting down some real cash. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're gonna go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's gonna help me get the job done. There is not gonna be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, Game Time Decisions. We're in the mix here on a Thursday night. Steph and Luka over 53.5 points combined. UC Irvine, minus 3.5. Yanks Diamondbacks, under 9.5. No runs first inning. Reds Brewers. That's where we are, all right? 3 weeks from now, we'll be breaking down the NFL draft. And the markets we're opening up. We're getting more. That's great, right? That's absolutely fantastic. We are trying to figure out what is going to happen at the top, okay? All the odds tell us Cam Ward's going to go first overall. Beautiful. It doesn't look like Tennessee's going to trade that selection anymore. Nobody talked about that market, who will draft first, more than this show right here. And there was a while it was pick. Titans, Giants, all indications it'll be Tennessee at 1. And they're going to go franchise quarterback style. Miami's Cam Ward. Okay, cool. Right away, then we get to the Cleveland Browns. Nobody knows what's going on. A couple of months ago, ESPN's Adam Schefter said, nothing I'm more sure of than the Browns are taking quarterback. And then he walked that back, and he's like, maybe they don't go quarterback. All right, so Abdul Carter then is what everybody expects, the market is expecting to come off the board second overall. Okay, I mean, listen, I'm interested in the Myles Garrett plus Abdul Carter combination. I think it could be game-changing. I think they would on day one be the best edge rushing duo in football. And you might say that's putting way too much on Abdul Carter's plate. Me and Myles Garrett would be one of the 7 best edge rushing duos in football. So I'm not sure it is. But are you sure they wouldn't want to take Travis Hunter? A one-of-one prospect who might be the best cornerback and best wide receiver in a single draft? Are we sure about that? I'm just saying, are we sure? And are we sure they're not taking a quarterback? Shedeur Sanders is the third best odds to come off the board there at 7-1. Something to think about. And then we get to 3. Travis Hunter's the favorite to go third to the Giants, -180. We, a couple of weeks on this show, though, saw the Giants over -500 to have the position of their first selected player be a quarterback. Well, that would be Shedeur Sanders plus 230. Second best odds. There are odds out there right now to be a top 5 pick. Okay? Shedeur Sanders checks in at plus 125 in that market. If you like that, a better bet would be Shedeur Sanders' draft position, which has come out, which is 8.5. Even money to the under. I cannot be the only one who finds this Shedeur Sanders situation stunning and unique. Yes, quarterbacks fall. Usually, though, we hype these players up all throughout the process, and then the fall is surprising on draft night. There are mock drafts that are willing to have Shedeur Sanders outside of round number 1. Outside of not just the top 10, but even the top 2. Oh, he's going 21 to Pittsburgh, 24 because of a trade. This is what we see with Shedeur Sanders in mock drafts. An 8.5 at -130 says they think it is more likely he's not a top 8 pick. Colorado's Pro Day is tomorrow. Rumor mill jump up? Shedeur going to shine? Maybe. Here's the question. NFL draft order. Let's say Tennessee at number 1 takes Cam Ward. And then the next picks end up going to Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter. Where does Shedeur Sanders go? Not New England. Not Jacksonville. Vegas, maybe. Jets? It doesn't feel like it, but do they pivot if the kid's on the board? I can't rule that out. Call me crazy. Carolina, I don't see it. The reason the number's 8.5 is because they think New Orleans could be the answer. If you're New Orleans and you're going to draft him at 9, wouldn't you be a little nuts to not jump up to 6 or 7 or 5 and secure the franchise quarterback that you think he might be if you're taking him at 9? Today, 3 weeks out, I lean under on that 8.5 draft position for Shedeur Sanders. I'm not betting it yet. Keep your eyes on tomorrow's Pro Day. The market will move. We're going to talk about Joe Pisapia, the opening week of Major League Baseball. That's next.
a casino floor and feeling a little overwhelmed? Well, here's a tip. Lots of machines have a free demo mode you can try for practice. So give those slots a spin in practice mode before you start putting down some real cash. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think GameTime Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to GameTime Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than GameTime Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into GameTime Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Game time decisions. We are a week into the Major League Baseball season right here on a Thursday night on SportsGrid. We got to get the opportunity to talk to Joe PCP at night in, night out. For Joe, I'm sure he's like, give me more. Give me more, because that's baseball. We need more sample size, because otherwise you go, Dodgers 162-0? Why not? Let's overreact, Joe. I mean, somebody's got to. The one thing is, obviously they're not going to go 162-0. They are the winningest defending champs in nearly a century. Have you been more impressed with the Dodgers than you thought you might be through 8 games or so?
Well, first of all, is it obvious they're not going to go 162-0? I don't know. I mean,
like
they can't be beaten, it feels like, and they're getting, eventually a healthier Freddie Freeman. But sure, I mean, there will be a stretch at some point where the Dodgers don't look great. We'll stay tuned for whenever that happens. But yeah, sometimes I'm not surprised that the Dodgers got off to a good start, but this is an electric start. And sometimes that's pretty difficult, especially when you have expectations. So the only things that can really stop the Dodgers, I think right now, are 2 things. It's injuries and playoff format. Because in a playoff format, anybody can go cold, anybody can get hot. So the money is on anybody but the Dodgers. I think that's what you want to do. That's how you're going to make some money, unless you had a lot of preseason stuff already wrapped up in the Dodgers. But the rotation they have, the depth of the bullpen they've acquired, the offense that they have, Shohei Ohtani is otherworldly. He was throwing his bullpen yesterday, so things are starting to move forward there. So he at some point is going to pitch as well. We'll see what kind of wrinkle that throws into things, but they've been spectacular. On the flip side too, you talk about teams that got off to awful starts. You have the Braves, who are 0-7, and no team that started 0-7 has ever made the playoffs. However, I don't know how many of those 0-7 start teams have Ronald Acuna and Spencer Strider waiting in the wings. So I'm going to just bide my time a little bit when it comes to the Braves. I think they will bounce back, but there's value. They went from -115 in this division all the way to +300 in some markets already. So if you like the Braves, this is the time to buy in on them for the National League East.
My wonder with Atlanta is, and again, it's hard to imagine they've buried themselves too far just turning the calendar to April, but we knew if the Dodgers are 100% taking up one of your slots, which they are, and the top of the NL East is going to be incredibly difficult to break through or to separate on with Philadelphia and the Mets, you then have to hope it's weak elsewhere. Padres red hot, Giants red hot, Cubbies look all right, Cardinals, again, it's early, But the problem, I think, for Atlanta, because baseball is not the NBA or maybe even the NFL, they are not just competing. It's not a guarantee they make the postseason, as you said. If Atlanta's there, love the numbers. 0-7, I'm not running to bet them to make the playoffs at over -150, which it is right now.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Now that it's moved to plus 300, it's much more tempting. So the fact that it started in that one spot where they were obviously the favorites, now you're getting some decent value. And let's realize too, it's to win that division. So to make the playoffs, you're getting even better odds on that. So it's a situation here where at some point they're going to have Chris Sale and Spencer Strider with Spencer Schwellenbach, all the guys named Spencer in this rotation at one point. At some point, you're going to have Ronald Acuna. Now, you did lose Jurickson Profar for 80 games. That hurts. He was a big offseason acquisition, gave you some depth in the outfield. So that kind of stinks. But at the same time, I'm not counting Atlanta out. I do like what the Phillies did this offseason, too. They bolstered the bullpen a little bit. Alvarado looks terrific. Lazardo looks outstanding. First start, 11 strikeouts. Huge start from him. Now, the Mets rotation has struggled a little bit. But at the same time, they've opened up on the road, some tough opponents there with Houston to open up things too. Now they're going home. Let's see how the Mets respond. That offense starting to come to life a little bit yesterday with Pete Alonso and a little bit, the couple days before too, where I think these guys will figure things out eventually. But it is a very competitive division at the end of the day. So the Braves need to start turning things around sooner than later if they're going to keep pace with teams like the Phillies and the Mets.
One of the big market moves, Aaron Judge on opening day was the second option on at least one sports book to an MVP. And then he went to minus money. And it's a long season. But it, to me, was ridiculous that he was not booked as the favorite because we're not doing, in baseball, we're not doing a voter fatigue thing. When Ohtani was under 2-1 to win the NL MVP, the only person that's taken MVPs off Judge in the last half decade has been Ohtani. Now, again, minus 110. I don't imagine anybody's running to bet that number. The issue is, but maybe you have an answer for me, Joe, who then are we running to bet in the American League to actually beat Aaron Judge in this market?
Well, I think there's a couple people. And remember, it's a media award, and sometimes there is fatigue, when it comes to these awards. So, I know the Yankees have gotten off to a pretty good start here. They've been in their home ballpark. Let's see if they, spin around the rest of this league and how things go for them. But Bobby Witt Jr. plus 450 is very intriguing still to me. He's still my pick. And what works in his favor is the same thing that works in favor of guys like Jose Ramirez. They're the standalone guy on their team, right? The Yankees still have a lot of stars. Now, one less star because they don't have Soto. But Chisholm's a very good player. They have Cody Bellinger. They have a lot of guys around him. You look at the Cleveland Guardians, it's Jose Ramirez. You look at the Royals, it's pretty much Bobby Witt. Sal Perez is a nice player. Pasquantino's coming along. But those are the guys that really carry things. Gunnar Henderson working his way back. He is a very interesting one to keep tabs on, too. One of the best players in the American League. And Vlad Guerrero Jr. playing for a contract is very intriguing. I do agree that Judge is the favorite for a reason. He was basically co-favorite with Bobby Witt going into things, but it is very difficult because although it's a media award, it's a New York media bias, and Aaron Judge is this legendary figure, so every year he's going to get all this attention. So once again, you either bet it early or now you're looking to play the field just like you do with the Dodgers early. So if you like these favorites, you got to get in before games start, because if these teams or these players get off to good starts, what happens is all the value starts to fade away very quickly, and then you have to wait for a slump for any of it to kind of build back, or a red hot streak from somebody like a Bobby Witt or somebody like a Jose Ramirez.
The incredible thing is, if on that book you parlay Judge and Ohtani to win their respective MVPs, it is a shorter price than anyone else to win the MVP in either of the market.
Yeah.
That's who those two are within their respective leagues. I am curious, Joe, was there anyone in either Cy Young markets that really caught your eye heading into this season?
There were. And just so you know, that was what I was preaching for MVP. I said bet Ohtani and then pair it with Judge. Bet Ohtani, pair it with Bobby Witt, because it's Ohtani's to lose. The only thing that stopped him, again, is just health at this point. Yeah. But when you're looking at the Cy Young race, that might be a little bit more open for discussion when you're starting to look there. Garrett Crochet was my favorite going into this year. He is now the favorite at plus 300. Scooble, a little bit of struggles there, but you're still getting good value in him at plus 450. Logan Gilbert, absolutely in this thing. Those are the big three in the American League. DeGrom, I think, is lighting money on fire. I think it's a terrible idea. He hasn't thrown 100 innings since 2019. I think that's absurd that he is even in this conversation, as a lot of people like him. And then on the National League side, look, Paul Skeens has been terrific. Zach Wheeler is the guy that I continue to circle at plus 500. He is very intriguing. And I would not rule out a Blake Snell at 20-1. Like, that guy went on such a hot streak in the second half that you have to look at him and the amount of wins he can get with the Dodgers. You know, that Dodger team, even if it was a six-man rotation for the entire year, which I doubt it's going to be, that they can have enough healthy guys to have a six-man rotation. But to me, Blake Snell could still win 20 games. So I'd be keeping an eye on Snell and Wheeler. You have the favorites already with Skeens, but Crochet already still at 3-1. Now that is dropped. Crochet, you can also get to lead the league in strikeouts at a really good number too. Love that bet also.
The great insight there. For me, what was interesting is I thought Dodgers option 2 or 3 in Glasnow or Yamamoto. I don't know if any of these guys are going to be allowed to pitch more than 5 innings in these games because they just don't have to. They win every game anyway. What's the panic? What's the worry? And again, obviously things are going great. Joe PCP, always great to catch up. We'll do it again soon.
Absolutely, my friend. Good to talk baseball with you.
All right, we're going to take a quick break right here. It is Game Time Decisions on this Thursday night right here on SportsGrid. We will be right back with you after this quick break.
Time on a casino floor and feeling a little overwhelmed? Well, here's a tip. Lots of machines have a free demo mode you can try for practice. So give those slots a spin in practice mode before you start putting down some real cash. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Game Time Decisions back with you on this Thursday night. 5-2 Astros up on Minnesota. Going to look to close things out on the road. Houston sure could need it, having their best offensive outing of the season. Sidebar, the AL Central, pathetic start to the year. The entire division today tied entering the day at 2-4. Let's put baseball on the back burner and let's talk some golf. Can't do it without Brady Cannon. Brady, it is great to have you. And Brady, if you came in and you were a little mad at me, I'd get it. If you say, this guy, I keep hearing him talk about 3 weeks away from the NFL draft when we are 1 week away from the Masters, you would be spot on. We've got the Valero going on. It's going to be golf's world any day now.
Yeah, no, man. It's like Christmas Eve just about. We're almost there. It's kind of like the few days before Christmas Eve anyway. The last little appetizer here down in the Lone Star State in TPC San Antonio, right there in the same place that the Final Four is going to take place here in a couple days. So everything, all eyes focused on TPC San Antonio, or the San Antonio area, I should say, right now. And speaking of the Masters, a champion who has a green jacket and a multi-time top five finisher, Jordan Spieth, making his way up towards the top of the leaderboard here, 5 under par in the opening round. He's won this tournament before. He's from the state of Texas, always seems to play well in his home state. And he's got the par 5, very birdieable 18th hole here in front of him. So before we're done here, he could get to 6 under, which would be 3 off the opening round lead.
Yeah, just give me an idea, Brady, before we get into the Masters, just what your ideas heading into the Valero were, but maybe more importantly, how you're measuring up the live market right now. I see Sam Ryder into Keith Mitchell, but following that, Jordan Spieth and Tommy Fleetwood, certainly much bigger names than the two in front of them.
Well, I typically like to get 36 holes in the book before I, really trying to assess what is going on here and maybe make some bets going forward. Personally, it's great to see Spieth off to a great start. I hope he rolls into next week with some momentum and puts on a show. I personally do not have a bet on him yet. I've seen him north of 40-1 to win the Masters, Kevin. Jordan Spieth, of all people. I mean, even when he kind of fell off a little bit, he was still 25-1 to win the Masters. Maybe it ticked to 30. Now we're getting 40s. If he shows up, obviously, and finishes top 5 here this week, you're going to see that number come down. Maybe it's a good time to bet him right now if you can find a 40. Going forward, though, Tommy Fleetwood is a guy that's just playing such good golf right now. And I know he would love to get his first win in American soil. He's won multiple times all over the world, but never on the PGA Tour. I would say if he's in contention over the weekend, he is absolutely going to be a factor. But there's so much unknown at this point, Kevin. Some of these guys like Fleetwood and Matsuyama and Spieth and Patrick Cantlay, Tony Finau, guys that are already into the field at Augusta and obviously really focused on the prize that stands in front of them next week. What is the rest of the week here in Texas going to hold for them? Are they going to put 1,000% effort going forward? Is this just kind of a glorified practice round? Are they just trying to tune up? I don't know if we know the answers just yet, and we probably won't until Friday night. And, like I say, if Spieth and Fleetwood, if they're there in contention, yeah, they're going to press on and try and win the darn thing. But if they're, sitting on the borderline of making the cut, I wouldn't be surprised if they bow out and head to Augusta, Georgia for an extra practice round.
That is always something to watch when you've got the Masters on deck. The very interesting thing heading into this Masters, though, I know his prices don't suggest he's a threat to win it, but no Tiger talk, right? We know Tiger's not going to be playing. Does that change things? I'm wondering, Brady, from the book's perspective. I mean, they can bank on it year in, year out. They are going to be inundated with Tiger money. If I'm not mistaken, from some of the conversations I know I've had with Dave Sharp, and I'm sure you're very plugged into this stuff, but as long as Tiger doesn't win the Masters, they're probably in a good spot off that fact alone. I wonder if that changes anything heading into the week price-wise, possibly.
It probably hasn't met much since the last time he won it in 2019. And they probably took a pretty good beating that year because it was in miraculous fashion. Nobody expected him to win, myself included. And I think he started out in the neighborhood of 100-1, maybe 75-1. By the time they teed off, I think he was, closer to 20 or 25-1. So like you're saying, there's always a ton of action on Tiger. And that particular year, he went on to win it. But ever since then, we've seen him 150, 300-1. I mean, it's hard for him to even walk 72 holes, let alone win the golf tournament. So I don't think he really changes too many things for the books as of late. Scotty Scheffler, we know he's going to get a ton of action. The Masters is a very chalky tournament, Kevin. We haven't had a triple-digit long shot winner since 2011 when Charles Schwartzel won at 100-1. But I believe in the last 10 years or so, the last dozen years maybe, the average price of your winner has been kind of between 25 and 35-1. It's usually, the top 20, 30 guys on the odds board where you're going to find your winner. It's not going to come from a lot of these past champions that are in their 60s and are still teeing it up, like Fred Couples and Jose Maria Olazabal and Vijay Singh and Bernhard Langer. It's probably not going to be one of the amateurs. It's probably not going to be one of the debutantes. The guys making their first Masters start, we haven't had a first-timer win since 1979. So, you've got about 20 or 30 or 40 guys you can kind of throw out right from the get-go. And then, again, you've got 20 or 30 guys at the top of the board that probably have a legitimate shot to win it. So the books are probably going to have liability just about whoever wins this thing, unless it is indeed a real long shot.
Yeah, let's keep Brady around here. I want to just get kind of where he is right now, week out from this card. We know the odds, as always. If Scotty's in it, it starts there. Rory's got a really good number, though. That's the closest I've seen Scotty and Rory booked next to one another in quite some time. Morikawa, Ludwig. Oh, look, John Rahm's back. Let's ask Brady about it after a quick break right here on SportsGrid.
First time on a casino floor and feeling a little overwhelmed? Well, here's a tip. Lots of machines have a free demo mode you can try for practice. So give those slots a spin in practice mode before you start putting down some real cash. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think GameTime Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to GameTime Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than GameTime Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into GameTime Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Game time decisions on SportsGrid on a Thursday. Major League Baseball waiting for the Yankees and the Diamondbacks to begin. We're on the under 9.5 in that game. NBA slate will have a couple tip-off at 7:10. Wizards catching a ton from Orlando. The very fake Philadelphia 76ers will host the Milwaukee Bucks. I have no idea who could be going to those Sixers games, as on a regular basis now they just shut down player after player after player. What a disaster that has all been, and we will leave that for that. Let's talk a little bit of Masters, though, before we get to the top of the hour. And, Brady, I know that you have been betting the Masters kind of here and there, picking spots, finding numbers. Give me an idea of where you are now, a week out from, of course, the biggest event in golf.
I've got 6 futures in pocket, and I'm pretty happy with 5 of them. One of them was just kind of a real shot in the dark based on, some correlated golf courses and some course history and stuff like that. And that's 100-1 ticket on Cameron Young. And I've seen even higher. I've seen 150-1. Now, Cameron Young had a pretty good round today to start the Valero, 1 under par. But I think he's missed the cut in 4 out of his last 5 tournaments. He's not in good form. I really do not expect him to contend, but you never know. He does have the game. He has finished 9th and 7th at Augusta before, and he's done extremely well on the courses that show a real sticky connection with success at Augusta. Now, I started way back in January. If you recall, we hit Hideki Matsuyama at Kapalua, and there's a lot of crossover success with that course in Augusta National as well. So I immediately bet Matsuyama while he was on his way to victory there at Kapalua. Got him at 25-1, and now you can find 30 because his iron play has gotten a little shaky. So I don't think that's such a bad play. I think this guy could probably turn it around at any minute. He got off to a, pedestrian start today in Texas. We will see if things change for Hideki. He's won here before at Augusta. We know that. And I also bet the runner-up at Kapalua, Colin Morikawa, who at the time was 22-1. I've seen him closer to 14, 15, 16-1 now. He may be, I believe he's the 4th choice after Scotty and Rory. Then you've got Oberg and Morikawa. And Morikawa is about as close as you can get. It's just a matter of now, slipping on the jacket or grabbing the trophy. He's been, it was just a few weeks ago that it looked like he was going to win at Bay Hill, and then Russell Henley chipped one in for eagle on the 16th hole and stole it from him. So Morikawa has been that close. Matsuyama, Morikawa, Cam Young, again, just a flyer. But then I also played Tommy Fleetwood and Brooks Koepka. Koepka a couple weeks ago, he's my only live selection right now. Koepka a couple weeks ago finished runner-up, solo second in Singapore. He's been training for the Masters or a major championship. He's been underway in his major prep for about a month now. And Fleetwood is just playing remarkable golf and had his best ever Masters finish last year, tying for 3rd. So I think it's very possible that Tommy Fleetwood's first ever victory on U.S. soil could come in a major championship. And I added all those in the last, starting back with January. But the one I added this week, and I had him at the top of my mind, I'm trying to find I probably want to have a total of about 7 guys going in, 6 or 7. And I'm kind of looking for one more. It might be Rory, it might be Scotty. But 60-1, I took a shot with Russell Henley. Driving distance is his kryptonite. He doesn't hit it as far as the rest of the guys, but he's fantastic everywhere else. We just saw him win at Bay Hill, which is a long course, and he's done very well here at the Masters before. So Henley, Matsuyama, Morikawa, Fleetwood, and Koepka are who I have in pocket currently.
It is going to be an incredible tournament. As it always is. Brady mentioning Brooks, it immediately is just like, oh, right, here comes Rahm, here comes DeChambeau. Remember Rahm last year? I think it was T45 at the Masters, miscut.
Yeah.
At
he
the
didn't
next
have
major
a good
event.
major. He played well in the British, and that was it.
Yeah.
He did not have a good major season last year. And his price is 18-1 now. That's so juicy, but he just really hasn't been firing on all cylinders. He's been close. He finishes top 10 on the live circuit every week, but it doesn't look like he's ready to take down a major just yet.
All right, Brady, we appreciate it a ton. We will, of course, be checking in. Quick break, right back. More Game Time decisions.
on a casino floor and feeling a little overwhelmed? Well, here's a tip. Lots of machines have a free demo mode you can try for practice. So give those slots a spin in practice mode before you start putting down some real cash. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Live on SportsGrid, it is Game Time Decisions on a Thursday evening. Let's reset the deck here with a lot of action that is going to be tipping off or having a first pitch in just a little bit. NBA-wise, it's Wizards, Magic, and Sixers, Bucks. Major League Baseball, it's going to be the Yankees and the Diamondbacks. Played under 9.5 in Yanks-Diamondbacks here. Looking for Carlos Carrasco, to have himself a much better start than what we've seen from him in kind of past few years, but I think it could be a nice little bounce back from how he opened up this season. I think Merrill Kelly is a very solid pitcher when you think about the Arizona Diamondbacks, and I think he'll be solid enough here for a D-backs team that has to be very pleased with the start to their season. Certainly nothing easy on their plate, having to play the Cubs 4 times, the Yankees twice. They're going to be 5-2 or 4-3. The problem for them is that'll be good, even with a win at 5-2, 4th best in the NL West. The start of the season for the NL West is unimaginable. So I don't know if I've been able to talk about it this much on the show. I was deciding between 2 teams for the World Series future. I went with the Cincinnati Reds. They ironically started the season against the other team, which was the San Francisco Giants. And every single thing about the Giants' start to the season shows why I was considering them, but why I didn't pick them. They are 5-1, and they are in 3rd place. The Padres being 7-0, certainly not what I expected, just because it's hard to project a team to be 7-0. There's 2 unbeaten teams. It's the Padres and it's the Dodgers. The Giants are not winning the NL West. The Dodgers are going to win the NL West. That's not a hot take, but it's real. You know, you see the odds. They're minus 850. Could you imagine you're the Padres? You're 7-0 and you're not in first place. It's not as if the Dodgers would have flipped to, a dog in the division. Here's a hypothetical. What would the Dodgers' record have to be for them to not be the favorites after the Padres started 7-0? If the Dodgers were 0-8, would they still be favorites to win the NL West? Probably. Right? I mean, it'd be close. Maybe they'd flip to a dog and then all the money would come in and it would just go back to the Dodgers. But they're not 0-8. They're 8-0. The Dodgers and Padres are 15-0. The Dodgers, Padres, and Giants are 20-1. The Dodgers, Padres, Giants, and Diamondbacks 24-3. Gotta be kidding me. 24-3. Meanwhile, the Rockies at 1-5 are a game back of first place in the AL Central. That's not right. That's not right. That's incredible, man. So, for a team like Arizona, it could be tough to break through for the postseason. I know we play less division games than we used to, but you still play a lot. And the Diamondbacks have to play the Dodgers and the Padres and the Giants and vice versa. I'll throw another Dodger question out there to the people. How many situations can we come up with where this team is an underdog? I would say none when they are at home. I think none. Wheeler at LA against the Dodgers, worst starting option? Maybe. I don't think there's a single situation the American League offers, and the Pirates are just not good enough, even with Skeens, to be favorites in LA. When Strider gets back at Atlanta with the right matchup, at Philadelphia and Wheeler, I think so. It'd be a short number, though. If Yamamoto's going, I'm not sure. At San Diego and Cease, they're not minus 200, but I'm not sure they're a dog. You may have a Dodgers team that is 162-0 in terms of being favored in their games. Sometimes you see a team like this, you go, come on, man, they're overhyped. It's too much. These numbers are crazy. We talked about the Judge stuff at the top of the show, right? People see the Judge number at minus 110. They go, come on, man, it's too soon. That can't be the number. There's definitely value elsewhere. Where? Who you betting? Doesn't mean you got to run to bet Judge. But who are we betting? And that's how it feels like going against the Dodgers in these markets. Man. You're going to try and, Yankees 7-1. It's a big number, get through the American League. Why? Because at some point in your breakdown, you know what you're going to say to me? Maybe the Dodgers aren't there. Okay. Maybe. Maybe, but that's not a good enough selling point for me at 7-1. It's not. It's not a good enough selling point if you're trying to get me to bet any of these teams. The Cubs at 22-1. The Cubs are good. Kyle Tucker's awesome. Imanaga's probably the real deal. You got enough at 22-1 to bet a National League team? Doesn't feel like it. It doesn't. That's why the Astros bet is not a World Series bet. Of course, it's far more likely the Astros win the World Series than the Cincinnati Reds. But I need a better number if I'm going to go against the market that involves the Dodgers. So I'll take my 8-1 ticket on Houston in the American League. They're not off to a great start. That's okay. Playoff pedigree. Get in the postseason. We'll go from there. Man, this Dodger team, man, it's broken record, right? But their star power is in the lineup, and I think the ball knowers would tell you the most dangerous part about them is the rotation. And that's what makes them so scary. We're on under Yanks Diamondbacks. We are on no runs first inning Brewers Reds. That's how we're going to set that up on the Major League Baseball board. We've already finished 3 games today. Boston took down Baltimore. Philly knocked off the Rockies again, and then Houston did grab that win in Minnesota to spoil what was their home opener. A shout out to the Rockies, who have a very small piece of to not be shut out, who have now 2 straight days scored late against the Phils, just once, but scored nonetheless in order to avoid that shutout. Speaking of the Rockies, next here on Game Time Decisions, we're going to get a little friend stop by here. Ryan Spilsborgs hosts Loudouts on MLB Network, Sirius XM Channel 89. So make sure you check that out. That's Monday through Friday. We're going to talk to Ryan next year, what he's seeing early in Major League Baseball, NL West. I'll probably mention a torpedo bat. I can't help myself. That's next. It's happening. It's right here on Game Time Decisions.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Game Time Decisions right here on SportsGrid, MLB Network, Loudouts, Monday through Friday, 1 to 4 Mountain Time. You can check out Loudouts. Spilly joins us here. Ryan, I appreciate you making some time to talk a little baseball. We're a week into the season. You're on the road right now with the Rockies, who are running up against the Philadelphia Phillies. And the Phils are one of those teams that are faced with the task of knocking off the Dodgers. Is somebody going to be able to knock off the Dodgers? And the incredible thing for LA is they're 8-0, and they look down at the rest of the NL West, and they've not created much separation because this division is off to even the biggest optimists in the world. I don't think they could have imagined the top 4 in this division getting off to this incredible of a start.
Well, there's a lot of things there. I mean, first off, 23-3 for non-Rockies NL West teams is pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
I mean, the Dodgers were on the verge of getting knocked out a season ago by the San Diego Padres. So the Padres being 7-0 shouldn't be a shock. The Diamondbacks led baseball in runs scored a year ago. That shouldn't be a shock. And when you think about, the adding Corbin Burns and thinking about the extension to Ketel Marte, and then you watch the Giants. I mean, it was a big deal for them to land Willie Adames. They already have a reigning Cy Young Award winner there in Robbie Ray, who's starting to pitch healthy again, along with Logan Webb and this psychopath Hayden Birdsong, who I just admire watching him pitch. The division's been good for a long time. I mean, I think West Coast baseball does not get the attention it deserves because of, in my opinion, I live in Mountain Time Zone. Whenever I'm on East Coast, and I've been on the East Coast since Sunday. So Rockies left for Colorado, and I'm doing the Friday night Apple game tomorrow night. So Dodgers and Phillies. I'm telling you, I'm a baseball nut. I was missing some of the games on the West Coast because I was going to bed. I was tired. So I think, when you think about the American League West and Houston Astros and their run of terror, the Texas Rangers, you go to the Diamondbacks from the World Series, you had the Dodgers winning the World Series. Like West Coast baseball, whether it's American League or National League, often just gets overlooked.
I think that's interesting. I think, I'm kind of a night owl, so I'll throw MLB Network on. I'll let it run through the night, and we'll, you just play kind of catch up on everything. But the thing with the NL West, there's 2 teams that don't have a loss yet. They own both of them. The amount of teams that only have 1 loss then would be the Phillies and the Giants. And you look at Arizona, who lost 2 to the Cubs. The Cubs have played 3 against Oakland, right? The rest of their games against the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. That series is 35-5 Chicago right now. So the Cubs are pretty darn good. It's going to be very interesting, though, if when we try and fill out, and I know we're so far away, the NL postseason, I know we play less divisional games, could these teams end up beating up one another enough where it's harder for them to actually get 3 of these teams in to the NL postseason?
No. And here's the reason why. A season ago, the American League Central was decided by one bad team. And that was the Chicago White Sox. Historically repulsive. I mean, legit, historically repulsive. Yeah. 122 losses. Can't happen. The Kansas City Royals were 12-1 against the White Sox. That got them to the postseason. The Detroit Tigers were 12-1 against the White Sox last year. So, when you have a division that's, more or less strong, and the National League West is clearly stronger than the American League Central. But the Rockies are going to be on a pretty bad pace this year. I mean, I think it's fair. The last 2 years for the Rockies, it was 100 losses. I hope not. I mean, I bleed purple, but I'm also a realist. They haven't been good. They had the worst, one of the worst records on the road. And so, for the Dodgers and for, imagine, the Atlanta Braves went into Dodger Stadium, got swept, and they lost with Chris Sale. Okay, so what are the Rockies going to do when they go into Dodger Stadium and they don't have that ilk of a pitcher? So I think because the division is so strong, because the Rockies right now are just in a really bad position, that the division won't get beat up as much as you think. And that National League West team still goes out, and I think they're going to beat up the Central. I think they're going to beat up all Central teams, all East teams, all American League teams. Like, the National League West is right now probably the strongest division in baseball, and by a large margin.
Yeah, it certainly feels that way. You're around this Rockies team, of course, very closely in a season where the record is, as you said, unlikely to shine favorably. Are you noticing anything early first 6 games, though, a bright spot here or there?
I mean, Rockies' starting rotation right now is the best in baseball, according to the numbers. So they have the lowest ERA in the sport, which is great. I mean, this is 5 games in, and I think they've only given up like 3 earned runs. So that's fantastic. But the offense right now is just anemic. They have a 5-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio, which is the worst in baseball, and they've only hit 3 home runs. So A lot of those problems that the Rockies have had in the last couple of years, chase percentage, strikeout percentage, low walk rate, it continues to just be a problem that's hamstringing the organization.
I guess the hope would be get back to altitude. Runs could start pouring in a little bit. It's the A's and the Brewers, their next 6 games at home. I think the Rockies become a very fascinating team, though, especially for bettors, right? Because they are going to be such a sizable underdog in a lot of these games. But again, what's the worst case scenario, right? They're still going to win 60 games, give or take, right? So I think they become a very fascinating team. Ryan, we really appreciate you making some time for us here on Game Time Decisions. I'm sure you have a flight to catch, so rest up. Best of luck.
I'm in Philly. I'm in
good?
Philly. I get to hang out here. I just had to move hotels. Yeah, I had to move hotels. I got kicked out of the nice one, and now I'm in a not as nice one.
Well, that does not sound like a good time. Hopefully the beds are comfortable then.
Oh, they're fine. Yeah, I mean, you turn the lights off, you can't tell if it's a Ritz or whatever other hotel it is. It's great.
All right, that's Billy again. Make sure you guys tune in to Loud Outs on MLB Network Radio. That's Sirius XM, Channel 89. We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we are going to talk to Doc Jock, get his thoughts around the Torpedo Bats. Again, one of the big storylines, certainly, of this Major League Baseball season, and after that we'll update you everything going on, the early doings of Yankees Diamondbacks right here on SportsGrid.
First time on a casino floor and feeling a little overwhelmed? Well, here's a tip. Lots of machines have a free demo mode you can try for practice. So give those slots a spin in practice mode before you start putting down some real cash. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Game Time Decisions right here on SportsGrid. We're a week into the Major League Baseball season, and the Torpedo Bats have certainly grabbed a lot of headlines, and it's been tough. What do we make of it? Well, we're bringing in a little bit of help here. An old friend, Doc Jock, Dr. Mitchell Roslin. Doc, it's great to have you on the program tonight. You know a little bit about the history of all of this, what's gone into it, and we've seen a lot of reactions to these Torpedo Bats. What can you tell us about the newest trend in Major League Baseball?
So it's fascinating and a great question. And I wouldn't say that I have great insights into bats, but I do have a fairly decent research background and dealing with medical devices. And also, I was fortunate enough that my college physics teacher, Dr. Brody, designed the oversized racket that got patented by Head. So it was, since I've always loved sports and I've loved science, kind of thinking about these things is certainly something that I've spent a lot of my own time thinking about. So I think that the analogy that I would give to people is similar to what you see in tennis. There are a lot of tennis players that will use a head-heavy racket. So what does that mean? It means that the weight is distributed so that more is towards the top than at the bottom of the bat or in the tennis racket. When you do a torpedo bat, what you're essentially doing is you're moving more of the weight to the middle of the bat. Obviously people have used smaller handles, bigger barrels, and there are people that have done that. So what do I think the net is? I think that at first, I think if you hit the ball and that it makes a bigger sweet spot, similar to Dr. Brody in the tennis racket. And that's what the science was about, how you can make a larger tennis racket that also has a larger sweet spot, not a smaller sweet spot. So I think this makes the sweet spot bigger. On the other hand, what's the disadvantage of having more weight in the middle of the bat is a head-weighted bat or a head-weighted tennis racket is going to make you more likely to follow through and get out in front of an outside pitch. So what I've learned in medicine through the years is that there's not one good treatment or one bad. Every medication has a side effect, and you have to look at the net, which I think will vary by players. You also have to look at that I anticipate more pitchers will pitch outside. And when they do that, it's not so much that the people won't get the sweet spot, but I think that certain batters will have a harder time getting the head out in front of the ball. So they'd have to meet the ball back further and go to right field or hit more up the middle. So it may change that. Pitchers will counter this by pitching, outside and then coming inside like they usually do. And that dead pull hitters probably, and I think this is probably why Aaron Judge said what he did, it would make it harder for them to get the head of the bat out in front. So there is no engineering design that doesn't come with some consequence. And net, too early to tell. You have to look at the compensation and then what pitchers are going to do about it.
Doc, one curious question. We have seen Giancarlo Stanton not able to play so far this season for the Yankees. Maybe he won't be able to play. Some have wondered, it was under the belief that Stanton was actually using this bat last year for the New York Yankees, maybe during that postseason run, that the change in bat could have led to the injury. Does that something that sounds plausible, that there could be a correlation between changing the bat style and then the injuries that Giancarlo Stanton is facing?
So I'm going to give that with a scientific answer. Anything is plausible, and then you have to study it, whether it's association or causation. And across the board, and it's kind of why I enjoy doing this, because it's so analogous to what I do in my full-time job. So many times in medicine, we kind of look at association and think it's causation. So, for example, one that's classic is red wine preventing heart disease, but it's probably more probable that people that like red wine probably have a higher socioeconomic status. Probably there are other things in their life that extends life expectancy. And the idea of wine preventing heart attacks has kind of been refuted. So what I would say is when you have an N of 1, it's an association and it's irresponsible to attach it to causation. But like anything else, it has to be studied with data. And I think that's kind of where on things that like you do, Kevin, it's separation, association, and what's good data and what's bad data, and looking past association and trying to find causation.
on a casino floor and feeling a little overwhelmed? Well, here's a tip. Lots of machines have a free demo mode you can try for practice. So give those slots a spin in practice mode before you start putting down some real cash. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think GameTime Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to GameTime Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than GameTime Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into GameTime Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Game time decisions on a Thursday night. Did we make a bad decision in the Bronx? It's 4-0 Yankees. Judge goes deep third, a 3-run homer in the first inning. That is home run number 5 for Aaron Judge. He's up to 14 RBI. Let's see, they moved the MVP. Yeah, they did. It's minus 115 now. He's off to a great start. I actually didn't get to tell anyone this. We were off, I could have tweeted it, but it was just kind of me making use of some bonus bets. They were offering 9-1. Yankees break the single season home run record for a team. It's 307. So you need 308. It's a tie. It's the Braves and the Twins. I think it's 2023 Braves, 2019 Twins. It's 9-1. I took a shot on the Yankees. Now, that was a number that was posted after their incredible start. You could say, oh, you're getting a bad price. I don't know. I don't think so. I think 9-1's a good price when you consider the start the Yankees have been able to get off to, especially the start Aaron Judge is off to, where he is right now just the absolute best hitter in the sport, right? I think that's fair. Pedigree plus performance. I think he'd get that nod. Who would the argument be? Shohei, fair. Played a couple more games, has less home runs, way less RBI. Bats lead off. I get it. I think the answer would be Judge. 4-0, and the D-backs are threatening for more. So if they push those through, absolutely done on the 9.5. We'll see if Carlos Carrasco can work out of trouble in that game. Don't forget 7:40. It's Brewers Reds. No runs first inning. Minus 130 without a boost. There is a first inning Nerfy or Yurfy boost that's available on FanDuel. If you haven't used it yet, you might as well get involved. Brewers Reds. You want to fade? Go ahead. You get a plus money. But I'm on the no runs first inning there, looking for a little Nestor bounce back, Nick Lodolo to button up the rest. So we've got an opportunity to get involved in the 2 remaining games on the Major League Baseball board. And today there was some chatter when Dave Sharapan joins the show. What will he be wearing? I said Warriors.
Yeah.
Right idea, wrong team. He goes Arizona Diamondbacks and specifically throws it back to the gear they wore when they did beat the Yankees in the World Series. So here's the tough thing, Dave. You would think I would see those colors and I'd be like, I hate them. Jerseys are too nice. I love them. I can't wear it You got to show some respect. I can't wear it, but it's gorgeous stuff. It's gorgeous stuff.
It's the site of the best sporting event that I ever attended in person. I was at that Game 7 when that little blooper by Luis Gonzalez went over second base, and the Diamondbacks won the World Series. It was a hell of a summer for me at a lot of the games, and really didn't think that they were going to beat the Yankees. But yeah, this gear it turns heads every time I wear it. So figured I'd wear it today. The Warriors was the obvious choice. That was the obvious choice. And sometimes we got to keep you guessing. I mean, because I looked at the board and I said the late game. Yeah, the Warriors and Lakers is the game.
Yeah,
in the NBA today. That's
the
one everybody's talking about. So we were going to go there, and then I was going to go Brewers because that game is coming up. But the Brewers have a lot of questions. And did you know that this is the 5th time in 7 games that the Brewers are facing a lefty?
That's weird.
I mean, how weird is that?
That's odd.
Yeah.
That's an odd one.
Yeah.
That's gonna mess up with the splits maybe for some guys.
You think so?
A lot of reps.
Yeah.
Dave, you mentioned Lakers Warriors. That game tonight will feature someone who today was being talked about his one-on-one abilities.
Ooh.
And I was wondering if you want to play odds maker.
Let's do it.
And see if I can then essentially skate away and retire in a hypothetical sense off of a bad number. Because I'll tell you, if Tracy McGrady was in charge, I certainly would be able to. T-Mac today said that LeBron would, quote, get crushed in a one-on-one game against other NBA guys. Seemingly, it seemed as if maybe most NBA guys. He went as far as to say that guys like Kyrie and James Harden would crush LeBron one-on-one. Dave.
Wow.
Game 11, 1s and 2s, LeBron versus Kyrie one-on-one. You want to make the number for me?
Jeez. I don't know if Tracy is qualified to be saying crushed. I don't know about crushed. Slightly better than Pick'em.
Okay. Yeah, that's retirement, folks. Yeah, folks, that's retirement. That's retirement. That's Bahamas. All right?
Yeah.
That's Virgin Islands. You want to tour Europe? It's free.
LeBron against Kyrie.
Okay. I want to
LeBron minus
it appears.
150? Is that good enough for you?
Go again. Hey, they hit us again. Go to 300. They hit. Whoa, take it off the board. Off the board. Okay, stop them. Off the board. Bad guys came in. We don't know what to do. We listened to T-Mac and we had to close up shop. Let me try and explain something. Let me try and explain something.
You ain't going to the Bahamas anyway. You're
you're right. I got work. No, you got right.
You ain't going nowhere. You hit the Powerball tomorrow. You'll be right here on Game Time Decisions.
You better believe it.
Let's be perfectly honest.
No, you better believe it.
You'll be right in that seat. You'll be planning for the wedding. But in the meantime,
just don't understand.
Go ahead.
I don't understand how someone like Tracy McGrady could have a successful basketball career while knowing nothing about basketball. Like I don't know how that happens. Now he managed it, right?
Yeah.
So I guess it's a tip of the cap to him.
Yeah.
First of all, T-Mac, who these guys, LeBron's not a scorer, so he just fell backwards into the most points anybody's ever scored in the history of the NBA. That's interesting. Interesting. Yeah. Don't know how that happened. Here's the other thing that
a long time.
I know. Yeah, and he ended up with the most points by the skin of his teeth. Right.
That's a big wig.
Whoa. Right. Here's the other thing that these guys don't understand. Okay.
Yeah.
The best one-on-one player in the NBA. You know who it is? You're all saying names out there. You're screaming at the TV. It's not LeBron. Certainly not Kyrie. It's not even Kevin Durant.
No.
It's Giannis Antetokounmpo. Because he is 7'7", can dribble at a touch, and strong as can be. You think 6'2", 6'3" Kyrie is crushing LeBron in a one-on-one? You don't know basketball, T-Mac, and that's all right. You're retired. You don't need to know it anymore. That's fine. But hey, let's button it up. Let's button it up, all right?
Did he really say James Harden, one of the names? Did he say James Harden?
Sure did.
Beat LeBron?
Sure did. Crushed.
That one's a little bit bigger of a line. That one. I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening.
Did you guys forget the importance of size? Who told T-Mac, who's a pretty big guy in his own right, by the way, that if we play one-on-one, LeBron's not going to go jab, step, up, fake, right around him, and then we'll do a little post move. I might hit T-Mac with a Walsh wiggle. I don't know if he keeps it up. I might have to. Because I don't like what I'm seeing here.
We've seen the Walsh wiggle. I've seen the step back. You can do a lot of moves. If a big man can do the moves and step back and put one in your eye hole, I mean, come on.
Hey, someone's got to do it. Someone's got to do it. Now that we've had a little bit of fun with some ridiculous hypotheticals, and essentially I'll be wearing Gucci and Louis from now on with all the money we made on these LeBron hypothetical lines. We'll come back to reality after this break because Lakers-Warriors is a big deal, and it's coming up about 2.5 hours. Can't wait. We'll talk about it next.
First time on a casino floor and feeling a little overwhelmed? Well, here's a tip. Lots of machines have a free demo mode you can try for practice. So give those slots a spin in practice mode before you start putting down some real cash. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think GameTime Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to GameTime Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than GameTime Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into GameTime Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
With you right here, it is Game Time Decisions. Hypothetical one-on-ones in the back now going out.
That's an easy number to make. That's an easy
favorite
number.
Possible one-on-one SportsGrid matchup to watch. What would it be? I'm not sure. I'll get back to you. Don't include me, Dave. What would it be?
Don't include you?
Yeah, don't include me. Favorite one-on-one SportsGrid matchup you could get. You got something for me, Dave?
Yeah, there's a couple that are racing through my mind. Thanks to
I know. It's fun.
Really
let's be honest. Let's be honest. This is a game of which combination are you willing to say on air? That's what I'm seeing. Right, we're playing a.
I don't know. who could play hoops, but there was a couple matchups that are just racing through my mind. Of course, anytime you think of Donnie Rightside, he almost has to be involved. I mean, you can't ask the Canadian guys because they're hockey guys. Gabe and Cam, we got to keep out of this.
Lisi versus Donnie game to 2, I think is a sellout. I think that's a sellout. I think people are watching that in droves.
I mean, Pharrell will tell you he'll beat anybody. You know, I mean,
Pharrell, coach.
If we want to really set up the matchup, Pharrell versus Coach would be. I mean, we could take a lot of money on that one. That would be a storyline, and Coach would be a big favorite, no matter what Pharrell says. And Pharrell's my Pittsburgh brother, but JY's taking him out.
Don't let this get back to Coach. I'd bet the dog. Don't let that get back to Coach.
Oh!
Don't let that get back to Coach.
Whoa!
All right? Don't let I don't think he'll be too pleased with that.
Text him right now.
I want to throw something your way, Dave, with the NBA.
Okay.
I'm sure you hear this all the time when it's like end of February. People are talking college basketball futures. Like, I just want to wait for the bracket. At this point, let me see my matchups. Let me see what I'm working with, right?
Yeah.
I think that's where we are more than anybody could have imagined when it pertains to the Western Conference.
Oh.
Because if it ended today, Lakers are the obvious second best odds. Obviously. Their path is Minnesota and then the winner of Houston against the Clippers to a conference finals. That is undeniably better than what Denver's path would be, which was a 4-5 against Golden State, and then OKC in round number 2. I mean, it's not even a question.
Not even a question.
The thing is, 2 days ago, I think Memphis was the 5th seed. Memphis is 8th now.
Yeah.
So it feels to me as if unless you're holding a ticket, a lot of people are going to be waiting for the seeding to break. What are you seeing right now in the Western Conference markets and maybe conversations you're hearing?
So this was some of the toughest times to be booking the NBA. And I've been trying to keep a running total. We're probably on reason number 12 million now at this point. Why I'm glad I'm not in a book working in a risk room right now, because the NBA regular season ends next week. And it can't end soon enough because we don't know. And there's so many games that are, lined. Like yesterday, Denver was a 15-point favorite in the morning. It closed a 2-point favorite against San Antonio, and they lost outright because of guys sitting, guys not. You don't really know what they're doing. To make plays on this is to know the path. And now that we've seen, like, the modern day, the way the NHL is set up, which we'll talk about, as we get closer to the playoffs, the path is everything. The Major League Baseball playoffs, the path, you could have the right team, but the tougher path, and they lose a series, they're out. The Lakers are that number one because they're an institution and popular, and a lot of people are talking about how they're just going to turn a switch on, but also because of their path. They'll be favored, where can't even say that for Denver. Can't even say that for sure with Golden State. They're not. The only team that's favored in their series in the West right now is OKC. And it ain't even going to, depending on who they play in the second round, it ain't even going to be that big of a favorite. I mean, Houston right now is the 2 seed, and they're a dog, most likely. Small favorite at all, depending in the first round who they play, and they're a dog for sure in the second round.
Yeah, it is so wild. Like, when the Lakers, the Bulls game, which was just great. It was so chaotic, right? It was unreal to watch. So people kept tweeting like, man, Lakers might come back to regret that one. It's like, maybe, but like, are we watching this race? I don't know. The whole thing's a coin. Here's the thing. There's a moment where people are like, you really want to be the 3 seed. Maybe the 4's not bad. So I don't even know what's good. So, we'll take a deep breath and we'll see as we get closer.
Yeah.
Dave, I know I only have you for a couple more seconds. My question to you, we're a week into the baseball season.
Yeah.
What was the reactions that you were hearing around the torpedo bats? Because it felt like a bigger story in betting compared to anywhere else.
without a doubt. There's no question. It's not that big of a deal. I think outside of it, and some guys are using it. Now, we had on the Pirates beat reporter Noah Hiles on our show on BVB, came on and said there was a buzz within the clubhouse that they were ordering them. They're going to get them. I mean, there were guys he asked specifically, yeah, I'm going to get them and I got to try them. They're on order. You're going to see more of them. You have to adjust the totals in baseball, not just because of the bats, but maybe because of the balls. And I heard you talking earlier. The NL West is the best. Absolutely.
Well, yeah.
I mean, and they're not all using torpedo bats, but the NL West baseball, the Dodgers undefeated, the Padres undefeated. There it is right there, combined record 24-3. And you're 7-0 and you're a game back in your division. You're not even winning your division. It doesn't even make sense. That's how good the division is. I mean, think about that with the Padres. Yeah. The Dodgers get the Phillies this weekend. We'll see how that works out for them. They're going to lose 2 or 3.
The Dodgers? Ooh.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to ask Dave a question in the break. I'll tell you all the question and the answer when we get back and close it out with a little Lakers Warriors consig. You are the best. We'll be right back here closing it out. Game Time Decisions on SportsGrid.
First time on a casino floor and feeling a little overwhelmed? Well, here's a tip. Lots of machines have a free demo mode you can try for practice. So give those slots a spin in practice mode before you start putting down some real cash. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, back at the right here on this Thursday night. We're going to close it out. The question to Dave was one that we talked about right here. When will we see the Dodgers, if we will, see the Dodgers as a dog? Game 2 against the Phillies on the road. It'll be Sasaki against Nola. Sasaki, excuse me, against Nola. It's going to be tight. Here's the thing. Let's say it goes minus 115, Phil's on open. It feels like just whoosh, Dodger money. Like you got to start Dodgers as the favorite and force them to push you to the Phillies as the favorite in the game. It also, I think, so let's say the Phils grab game 1, right? Again, the Dodgers are going to lose games. It's going to happen, right? So let's say they lose tomorrow. people are going to say, all right, they're not going to lose 2 in a row. You know that money's going to come in on the Dodgers. It's going to make for a great series. Great series to start things off. We did get the no runs first inning in Reds Brewers. So we love to see that on the board. Mostly easy. Leadoff batter was walked by Cortez, but everybody else went down. 3 up, 3 down for Lodolo. So a nice little start there. Things have calmed a little bit in Yankees D-backs, sitting 4-1 right now. Live total still 12.5, so we're off pace, but it slowed a little bit in that game right now, as it's, I think, never mind. Never mind. I thought that 12.5 seemed a little high. That's a mistake out of me. The first thing I was going to do was take the Yankees to hit 2 home runs because it was plus money and they're the Yankees. Oh, that's brutal. Trent Grisham, 6-1. 6-1. 7 runs already, 9.5. Yanks in a runaway. Yanks in a runaway. Crushed it, is what reports are telling me, too. Trent Grisham. Absolutely smashed it out in any ballpark. All right, best bet tonight. It's a Thursday. At some point, you think they're going to, could there be a takeover? Maybe. For now, we're going to take Steph Curry, Luka Doncic over 53.5 points combined. This is minus 120 on DK. Maybe my favorite bet of the NBA season is possible. I love this one. You have Steph Curry coming off of a game where he scored 50. You might think, whoa, don't we like to sell high? I don't think Steph's going to score 50 again. But I think he's going to score about 30. I do. When Steph's hot, he stays hot. Since 2021, we have 8 games after a 50-point performance. Tonight will be the 9th. Steph has scored, on average, 30.3 points per game, making 5.4 threes in those matchups. He scored at least 25 in 7 of 8. And if I get 25 at a Steph tonight, that's probably enough. I talked about betting Luka to score 30 a couple of days ago when they went up against the Houston Rockets. I thought Luka would have a really good game. He led the game in scoring, but he didn't have a really good game. 6 of 16 from the floor, just 20 points. 3 straight games without 30 for Luka Doncic. At home tonight, huge game against the Warriors. I think Luka steps up in a big way. I think they combine to go through the 53.5. I think that this is, if you are interested, like an alt thing, or if you're looking for some parlay legs, like I really like their points tonight. I think both Steph and Luka play great basketball in what should be a great game, and what is, by the way, a very important game. We just alluded to this with Dave. All this talk around seeding. And right now, oh man, if you're the 4, you have to play Golden State. Golden State's a dog tonight. Let's say they drop the game. What awaits is a game tomorrow against Denver. You assume Denver will be playing a lot of their guys. Second leg of a back-to-back. Denver probably rested. Golden State might be a dog. They might not play Steph. That's on the board. So that's going to be the trade-off that we see here with a lot of this stuff. You have your NIT championship game tonight. It's UC Irvine. It's Chattanooga. Let's go UC Irvine minus 3.5 points. Minus 102 juice. Let's see if that moved quickly before we let you get out of here. That number right now is, still 3.5. It looks like there's a 3 out there. If you want to wait for a little bit, see if that becomes more popular, you can. That's how we're going to button it up here. Best of luck to everybody on a Thursday. I will see you Saturday morning. BATR, Final Four Saturday. Make sure you're locked in here on SportsGrid.